right. My name is Joanne Goodpipe. I am an assistant professor in the School of Business and Public Administration. Right now, I am in another role as department head. And I'm here to discuss reconciliation and why it's important, and to talk about how it's integrated into the intercultural leadership program. So first of all, I'm going to start I have three things I'd like to talk about, and that is acknowledging the past, looking at the present, and then the future. I think that's really important in a cyclical way of learning. So when it comes to reconciliation, the first thing I would say is it's important because we want to acknowledge that with the residential schools, that residential schools are real. They didn't happen 300 years ago. It's very relevant to where we're at right now, and it was very tragic, and it affects all of us, and it is important to understand that. And so that's the past, looking at the past and saying this happened, and this is why we are where we're at, and acknowledge that. And that's where reconciliation comes in the TRC. And then I guess the second one is reflection, and that's what we're doing now, is looking at saying there was a failure to protect the children. There was a failure to protect Aboriginal identity, to protect culture. There was a lot of things that went wrong, and that took away identity, language, self, importance, everything that people take for granted. This is my culture, this is my identity. Well, that was taken away. And the thing with the reflection is to also understand that when you do that, the change doesn't happen overnight to get that back, because it's been integrated into a culture of years where people don't understand their identity, and it has to be relearned. So, and then the third one is where we're at right now, which is, I think, respect, and that is the dialogue, understanding, healing, moving forward. And that's where we are right now, and that's where the intercultural leadership program comes in. And with the intercultural leadership program, we're taking recommendations from the TRC, and we're looking at leadership and looking at ways that we can do at least one thing, one of those recommendations, one thing to help forward the understanding, looking at the past, looking at the present, and moving into the future, to ensure that this doesn't happen again, and to ensure that it's respectful and people aren't blaming each other and saying, well, that wasn't my fault, I didn't do it. We may not have done it, but we're all part of it, and it has affected everyone. And I guess for me, also it's honoring their survivors, honoring those that didn't survive, and honoring the children. It's very personal for me when people talk to me about residential schools and, well, that was, 40, 50 years ago, 100. I say, to me, it's very important and it's very personal, because my mother died when she was 20. And so I was an infant. So I'm 47. So I've had 47 years without a parent. That's 47 years without my culture, without teaching, I was put in a foster home after my mother passed away. And so I've had to take many steps through education, and that's why I believe education is so important, and First Nations University especially, to teach the children, and in my case specifically, that were taken away and put in foster homes for me, where I didn't get my culture, I didn't get my identity, and I didn't fit into everything that was going on around me. So when people say residential schools aren't that relevant, I say no, it is relevant, because I don't have a mother, and I didn't grow up with one. However, I'm a mother, and I'm thankful, and I want to honor my mother because I can be a good mother to my children, and I can teach them about their value. I can teach them that when they say my last name is Goodpipe, they don't have to be ashamed. They don't have to think, oh, that's a terrible thing. And they can grow up being proud of who they are and understanding who they are as First Nations people, and being taught First Nations value as well as Western values. So when it comes to the why is reconciliation important and how is it integrated into ILP, I think because it's a learning opportunity for everybody, First Nations or non-First Nations. And I think if we all move forward in a respectful manner, we can learn from each other. The Certificate of Reconciliation is a very important certificate, and I think it's something that everyone should have the opportunity to take. If you have a chance to take the certificate, to take some of the classes, absolutely do it. It's not meant to show people how terrible things were or how great things are. It's about respect and moving forward in a collective, unified way, inclusive, and introducing dialogue to this important issue.